So this is the first video in the new space. How do you like it? It's not finished. I've only brought a few of my books down so far, but it's a start. Hi guys, it's April, and I thought it was only appropriate that I start off this last half of 2020 in the new studio library space. It is done. The construction is complete, which is super exciting. As you can see, I now have a new set of shelves that I can now fill up any way I want. My idea is to slowly bring books down and get them stacked on this, and that's actually going to be one of my goals for the last half of this year, is to actually get the books down here, and so far I'm not very far. I know this is the point when a lot of people on BookTube decide that they are going to do the mid-year freakout tag, and I do really enjoy that tag, but I'm going to do it more of my standard way of going back and looking at my goals, seeing where I'm at, if I'm making progress the way I want to make progress, and then maybe reevaluate how I'm doing things. And part of the reason I want to do it this way is because my channel isn't just about books anymore. I've kind of branched out into a lot of creative realms, and so I want to make sure that I'm keeping track of all of those different things. But of course, I will still have my reading goals. I will still talk about my reading goals, and I guess I will start with my reading goals. How many times can I say reading goals in the span of a minute? I always start off my goal list, especially since this channel started because of my reading. I always start off my goal list with how many books I want to read in a year. And this year I set it at 130, knowing that I was probably going to be hitting that. And so far I am at about 105 books that I have read this year. I am on track for hitting 130. I have a stretch goal that I always put out there as well, and that is 200 books. I would have to read 16 or 17 books for the next 6 months to reach that goal, so I don't think it's something that I'm going to hit, but I always have it there just in case some miracle happens and maybe I just get really into a very long manga series or something like that and I hit that goal. That goal isn't as important to me as the 130, because the 130 make sure I am at my steady reading pace that I know I am comfortable with and that I'm keeping my focus on reading, which means I'm doing very well at that. But as for my reading breakdown in general, I had, at the beginning of this year, I set a goal of bringing my physical TBR down to around 200 books or so, because my physical TBR has the propensity to grow more than I would like it to, because I get distracted by different things, by people recommending different books. So I don't pick up books that have been sitting on my shelves. I don't want to admit how long they've been sitting on my shelf, but I forget about my physical books. I have not been doing so well on that one. Right now, my physical TBR is sitting at 280 some books. I have maybe read 30 or some odd books off of my shelf, which is doing pretty good. But my problem is, I have picked up 13 new books. I've picked up and read 13 new books. I have gotten into NetGalley, which is another goal that I decided to put on my list that conflicts with bringing down my TBR. I have been requesting books from NetGalley, and so far this year, I've reviewed about 33 or so books on NetGalley, but that means I'm not reading these books right here, and I have been doing rereads. So my TBR is still a little bit neglected. I need to find that balance. So if any of you know what that balance is and how to achieve that balance, that would be great. I am having the time of my life though, figuring out NetGalley and doing reviews for NetGalley. I have been thinking about maybe changing that under 200 to maybe 250. I mean, realistically, I could probably read 30 or so more of my physical books and bring that down. I know we've got a lot of readathons and things coming up. And if I decide to stop getting distracted by NetGalley and stop requesting nearly as many books as I have been, which I am getting to the point with NetGalley where I'm really starting to think about what I'm requesting, I need to start thinking of criteria, because if I take up my whole reading month with just NetGalley arcs, I'm not going to get anywhere with my TBR. So at this point, going into the last half of 2020, it seems that I need to start putting a few rules on my NetGalley goal and maybe just bringing it down to maybe a couple of NetGalley books per month, not necessarily like the 4 or 5 that I have been doing. Oops. But one thing I am very, very proud of for my reading goals that I set up at the beginning of the year is I wanted to get more into keeping track of new releases. These are videos that I have really enjoyed watching by other people, seeing what their anticipated releases are or releases on their radar. They are so fun to watch, and it is so fun to dream about what I could be picking up soon that I wanted to start keeping myself accountable, start keeping a list of those kind of things myself. I have been putting out monthly videos of things to look forward to in the coming month. I'm still not the best at doing all of that research and compiling that list, but I am getting better, and I'm starting to get my feelers out there for what is going on in the publishing world. That is not something that I have ever really kept track of before because I've just been a very isolated reader. If I see it on a shelf somewhere and somebody talks about it, then it shows up. I haven't ever actively sought something out from a publisher or interacted that way, which is why NetGalley suddenly became a thing in my life. So it has been an interesting experience, and it has kind of changed the way I've been viewing my channel. And then my final reading goal before I get into the rest of my channel goals, I had put out into the universe that I wanted to do another book event. This is something that is no longer reasonable given the climate we now live in and everything going on in the world. At this point, that is probably going to just be scrapped. It's not something I'm going to actively seek out. There might be some virtual conferences or some virtual meetups that I might try and get into if they exist. I have no idea. If you guys know of any of those kind of things, feel free to tell me down below. But at this point, I think it's more of me expanding my interactions on social media, having conversations with you guys more often, because I just love interacting with you guys. You guys are the reason this channel exists. You guys are the reason I continue to create things. I love hearing your guys' feedback. Feel free to talk to me on any of my social media platforms. Feel free to send me a DM or a private message. I know with the state of everything in the world right now, just having another human being to talk to is sometimes the greatest medicine. So my doors are open, my comment sections are open. Feel free to talk to me because you guys are absolutely amazing, and it still blows me away how many of you guys are subscribed to my channel, how many of you guys watch my videos. I never in a million years imagined I would be at this place. It's kind of amazing, and you guys are the reason. You guys are fantastic. I don't know where to end that whole rant. You wanna say hi? No, you don't wanna say hi? But on the more channel-centric goals, I did put out a goal of being more inclusive, starting to caption my videos so that anyone who doesn't natively speak English or who is hearing impaired have better access to my content. I knew I was going to struggle with this because writing and all of those nitpicky details of grammar are not my strong suit, and so I love editing videos. I love creating videos. I don't write scripts because I'm not a huge writer, and so going back and writing out everything I said and putting it on my videos isn't always what I look forward to. I did start out pretty strong doing this at the beginning of the year and captioning all of my videos, but I found myself struggling doing that, so I pulled back a little bit and started really focusing on what videos meant the most to me. And those turned out to be my reviews and my DIY type videos. So those are the videos that I become very hyper-focused on when I'm thinking about the whole creative process. And those are the videos that I've started to caption and make sure that I have an accurate word-for-word script of what I have said. At some point, if I ever really get a system that I really feel comfortable with, that might expand to all of my videos. But for now, I think my focus is going to be on my reviews and on my DIYs, my step-by-step processes, because those are the kind of videos that I find myself more drawn to now. I've started to realize that I want my channel to be a place that is full of information that is helpful and something that people will come to make decisions or to help them create something, and something they'll come back to for that kind of information, which kind of leads into my goal of wanting to do more DIYs. That is something that I really, really was passionate about at the beginning of the year, because my rose video that I made like 2 or 3 years ago really started to take off, and that's where a lot of my channel growth has come from. So I know it's something that you guys really love as well. So I wanted to add more of that into my channel. Unfortunately, that didn't quite happen the way I wanted it to. I did put out a decorating my hydro flask video in January, which you can kind of consider a DIY. It's more of an art video than anything else. But I never really got into that creative space that I really wanted to get into. But now that I have this studio, now that I have this library space, I feel this freedom to be creative in a way that I wanted to be at the beginning of the year. The problem was the space that I had to kind of work with wasn't very ideal. And then we went into this construction project, and it lasted longer than I expected, and it took a lot more mental space than I ever thought possible. There were times when I was questioning why we were even finishing this basement, but now that I am sitting in it, now that I see the space I have to work with, I am so glad that I did, and I'm excited to see what happens. I think you guys are gonna really like some of the videos that are gonna happen in this space, because I know I also wanted to get back into coloring. I've been doing my Sunday streams for a while now, and after moving into this house and everything that was going on, those Sunday streams were pretty much the only time I was coloring, which is why I made it a goal to do coloring in those creative works outside of the channel and maybe do more videos that weren't necessarily those live streams. But like I said, a lot of things just stopped me mentally and physically from doing some of that stuff. And I'm hoping with this space, this opening, this creative atmosphere that I am creating down here, that is really going to take off. That I'm gonna have more of those creative videos. I'm gonna have more coloring. I'm gonna have more crafts. I'm gonna have more DIYs. It's all gonna be centered around books. That has always been the goal. But there's so much possibility in this space now. I didn't even think about how mentally I would shift once I was down in this area, but just being here for the past week and deciding how this new setup is going to be and creating how all of this is visually going to look is just sparked so much joy in me, which means I'm also going to continue my dream library series that I started at the beginning of this move when I started to explain what the space was going to be. And then we have the construction of the space. I will link all of that down below in case you're interested in that whole process. I have so many video ideas of how I want to start developing this space, how I want to set up my art space, how I want to set up my streaming space. I already have some stuff filmed for setting up my manga. Cat, I love you so much. And then maybe a series on setting up these shelves because there is so much space, and then deciding how the rest of my shelves that aren't down here, how all of that is going to look. And I know a lot of you guys really enjoy bookshelf organization and art studio organizations, and that is what is sparking joy for me right now, which means you might see several videos on that. Yeah. It's not ever going to be perfect. I know it's something that's going to continue to morph and grow, but once this space gets to a place that I am really comfortable in, I can't tell you what is going to happen, but I already feel a mental shift on how I am thinking about this channel. I think that's going to translate into what you end up seeing on this channel, and that makes me really excited because I have been doing this for so many years that I feel like I got into a rut. But with this new space, I feel like I'm gonna have a freedom to shift. And I know I keep talking about the possibilities of this new space. I feel like that is going to be my focus for the rest of 2020 is just this, whatever this is. And I am totally open to whatever happens next, and that makes me truly excited for the first time in a very, very long time. And I'm hoping I can hang on to that excitement and that passion because I feel like I've lost it. I know I haven't talked about it a lot with you guys, but there are times I feel like there is something missing in my content. I feel like right now is a good time to shift and a good time to reevaluate and start something new. So welcome to the new space and the old channel with new stuff. I really hope that you guys continue to stick around and hang out with me and Fia because she decided that she was going to drop in for this video. And of course, I would love to hear your guys' feedback of what you want to see more of in this channel. leave them down below, any suggestions that you have, or if you just want to say hi, say hi. I love that so much. And as always, if you want to stay up to date with every time I upload, subscribe down below, and I hope your beautiful faces. Bye.